What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Bvi Pilots. I am your host once again, John. As always, hope everybody's doing good wherever you might be. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you to click on that subscribe button and join us here at Bvi Pilots. We'd love to have you. And be sure to give us a thumbs up for this video or another video that you liked, or just to show your appreciation to the channel all around. If you got any questions, you can find an email down below in the description. You'll also find links to some different Twitch links. And before we get started, I'm going to describe that to you. The first link is going to be mine. The next link will be Brandon's. Another link will be Josh. All right, that way you guys can go watch them on Twitch when they are flying and all that good stuff. You have a way to get to them, all right? Again, it's important that you guys share the channel with your friends, because that's the only way we're getting out there is with your help. I've said it, matter of fact, we've got him with us today. I've said it to Brandon before, we can do all the videos in the world, but if nobody shares them, then
we won't get out there.
We're not going to get out there. So today is a pretty exciting day, and I've got Brandon here with us, and that way he can ask questions or whatever as I go through some very specific even directions about the product I'm getting ready to tell you about, because if I don't tell you, you're gonna get confused, because I did when I took it out of the box. I'm like, how does this go? So for that said, folks, it was delivered today, and that is the Honeycomb yolk. And I'll tell you what, man, off the bat, this is one amazing piece of work. I mean, it really is.
Nice.
I'm going to be telling you guys everything that I can in a description. I know there's other unbox reviews, but it really does me no good to do the unbox part, because if you're watching and you're visually impaired, what does it matter? You're just going to hear me open a box, So
Exactly.
I'm skipping that part. All right. But I do want to go over some stuff that you need to know. If you don't know, you might, have some problems. Nothing major, but let's start with, what is the Honeycomb yolk? Well, it is what it said. It's a yolk for your jet or your plane. I believe it can even do, I don't know how it would do with helicopters, but I'm not going to say it wouldn't work. But I will tell you that it works good with, I don't know. It might.
Yeah, it might work, but more than likely, probably not.
I think it'd be a different kind of yoke. I think you'd need a helicopter yoke. I think they're different.
Helicopters have a totally different flight system than jets and other planes do.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But I mean, you could probably make it partially work, I will tell you that if you're using Prepare, if you're going to buy the Honeycomb, you need to know that you're going to need to program buttons. Okay? I'm not 100% if all of them are that way, but I know there's going to be a few you're going to have to program. The nice thing is, now I don't have to worry about messing with the hat button. It's going to do what it was meant to do to begin with, and that's the cameras for the different views and all that. I'm going to leave that alone for once. Finally, I can leave it alone. So let's start with the description, then I'll go into how it goes together. It's pretty simple once I describe it. All right, so if you've got it sitting on your desk and you've got the yoke towards you, it's going to be about trying to give you a good, so take your iPhone, if you just lay it long ways, but from left to right long ways, it's wider than your iPhone, and then about another half of your iPhone. That's how wide it is from left to right. The part right behind your yoke is kind of squared off. It's square. but then you go back behind that just a few inches, and you got the main, the top of it and the sides, and it's rounded. So if your hand's on the side and you run your hand up it, it's going to kind of curve, go across, and it's going to curve down to the other side. And then, of course, it's flat on the bottom. So it's kind of like a half oval type of deal, I guess you'd say. Does that make sense? Obviously, the flat's going to be bottom, but the top, from left to right, it curves. It's not just flat. It's got a real nice style to it. I really like it. Now, on the back of it, they've got a emblem on the back of it, in the center of it, with their design, which is pretty cool. And then, if you've got your hand on the back of it to the right side, and you still got this sitting on your desk, to the right side, you're going to find a little slot, and then beside that, to the very right side, near the top, a little round button. And you're thinking, why would there be a button on the back? Now, I know for being visually impaired, this probably isn't much of a feature for some of us, but you know what? I still think it's cool. It actually has the, what do they call them? LED lights. They're lights, okay, and they light up red. You push the button once, and they're a real faint red. They're dim. Press it again, it gets a little brighter. 3 times, a little brighter. 4 times, as bright as it can get, which actually looks pretty cool.
That is cool.
To the left of that is going to be where your cable plugs in. The cable reminds me of what the cable looks like for an iPhone, the way it plugs in. What are them called? That type of
the
fitting.
lightning cable?
Yeah, it's got a lightning plug on one end, and then the other end is your USB.
Oh, that's interesting.
And we'll get into cords here in a minute, but I'm going to go back to the front of the yoke. I've got my left hand on one bar, my right hand on the other, the handles. Where your thumbs will, when you're gripping it, your thumbs, you're going to find on the right side they push right and left. So you can push it right, you can push them left, and there's 2 of them. And those are you can actually use them for your trim. Some planes now require 2 levers for your trim, so that you don't have an accident if you accidentally hit one. Well, for the, some of the jets, if you hit one, it's not going to do anything. You got to hit both of them. So it's good that your trim's right there on the handles. And that's right where your thumb is. If you go up above that, you've got a round button that I'm guessing, I don't know exactly what specifically it's for yet, but it's a flat round button about your tip of your thumb will sit on it, and it's about the same size as your thumb. So it's a decent size round button. Then you got a little button to the left of it, and it sticks up. You can kind of feel the button sticking up. It's more skinnier, but a little bit taller than the other button. And I believe those are your mic buttons. Actually, you got one on each hand, so you can make that button as your mic. Interesting thing is, I wonder if when you assign that in Bvi Pilot, if, obviously, let's say you assign the right mic button as your mic. I wonder if the left one will still act as your mic too, being they're both the same button.
Sort of like maybe a reversible type system where if you push one, it'll act as the mic, and the other one would too.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't know if
That'd
it would
be
see it that way, and we'll find out. Maybe we'll do it if we have time. So that's the buttons on the right side. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons up on your handle. on the right side. Over on the left, them first two buttons where your thumb is, they push up and down, and there's two of them. The one on your right, that's the same, they push left and right. But the ones on the left hand, same kind of buttons, but they're in a different position, they push up and down. I'm guessing you can probably make, you don't got to have both sides your trim. You can probably make one side your elevator, other side, whatever. Above that, you've got another one of them little bitty buttons, that mic button that sticks up. And above that and to the left a little bit at an angle is your hat button. They call it a hat switch. Is that what it's called? A hat button? Hat switch? I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Brendan?
Mm-hmm.
It's called a hat button,
That's what
right?
I'm thinking. Yeah.
Okay. Now, on the back of the handles, on your left handle, you've got another button. And it's right there where your finger, when you're gripping it, it's got actual indentations for your hands to grab it. Really nice, real firm, real big. But there's a button right there, basically, that would rest between your index and your middle finger when you got your fingers wrapped around. So you got that button right there.
Wow.
So that, I'm guessing that's, you'd want to make that something important. Maybe
flaps or something?
Well, I don't think it'd be flaps because you can't. You can only push it in, and flaps you need two different buttons to do flaps out, flaps in. Right. So I don't think it'd be flaps. Maybe your gear. Could be your gear.
Well, again, the same thing with the gear. You have to have it down or up. So I don't know.
Well, no, you hit you can hit the same button does your gear. G does your gear on the keyboard.
That's true.
So that's a toggle button. I'm guessing maybe, I bet I know, probably your autopilot. Probably. Either that one or that round button on the right handle where your thumb rests. That might be your autopilot too. And really, guys, remember, all this is, you can personalize it to your, the way you like it. And I'm not done. There's still buttons to talk about here. Now, let's get away from the yoke and let's go behind it where the round rod is. It goes inside of the, the box or whatever you want to call it, the dashboard, whatever. It is solid steel. There's no wires that go through this yoke. Solid steel. A beautiful setup. Beautiful. I'm impressed. Like when you push on this yoke, and let's say you pull it back, right? You're raising your nose, and then for some reason you're like, oh nope, I've came up too far, and you start pushing your yoke forward. You can't even feel that middle rest spot. It's so smooth. Where it rests in the middle, you can just cruise right through it, dude, and you can't even tell it. When so when you're pulled back and you want to go forward, you can barely tell that you're going past the middle point. Yeah. Really nice and smooth. Now, before I get into the buttons on the dash, let's talk about, okay, John, there's no wire going through the bar. What is powering them buttons between the dash and the buttons on the yoke, right? This was a genius idea they did here. On the back of the right side of your yoke, there is an Ethernet port. And it comes with a short, flexible Ethernet cable. It plugs into the back of the yoke, and then the other end plugs in to the dash. You're going to find this on the right-hand side of your dash and on the back of the right-hand side of your yoke. So remember, You get one of these. If you don't plug that in, you're going to be wondering why in the world these buttons not working. There you go.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about the dash. It is really well made. Matter of fact, on the top of it, it's flat. You can literally put your phone up there if you wanted, a camera,
Nice.
whatever you wanted to do to make it. And it would make it nice to fit in somewhere if you're building a sim or a custom little sim desk or whatever, right? Real nice. Now, back to the front of the dash. Right hand side, you've got your ignition key. Now the key don't come out, but it does have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 different spots, which is telling me for 4 different starters. You might fly a plane.
Which tells me you can start 4 different engines.
Yep. So you can literally go and select starter 2 for the second engine. But listen to the quality. I don't know if you can hear this.
I can, actually.
There's no wobble in these. They're really well made. That's your ignition. So you got 4 different positions with the ignition.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go to the left side. Left top, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 switches there. We don't know what they do yet because I'm not, like I said, we're not going to fly it. I'm just doing the review of what it is, and I'm also going to tell you guys how to put it together. All right, so you got them 4 buttons. I'll go ahead and flip them back down. And now below that, you've also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more switches that flip up, just like you get in a jet. So see, and listen to the quality.
That's really good quality.
Really, really strong buttons. Works really good. Now, I told you about one cable. That's your Ethernet cable. You got to plug that into the back of your yoke, and that's going to give you power to be able to control your buttons. And I'm guessing it probably delivers power to the yoke itself for the buttons on the yoke.
Probably does.
Next is your USB cable. One end is the what is that called again?
The lightning connector.
Lightning connector on one end, USB on the other end. Actually, I think it's called a USB-C.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I don't know if that means it'll work on another, if it works on more than just USB, or if that's what USB is, USB-C. But it's actually called a USB-C.
If it's USB-C, it means it only works on computers that have USB-C ports.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well, then it must just be USB. Maybe it's not USB-C, because it just plugged right into my computer with no problem. So,
okay.
And everything's lit up. So, we're good there. So that's your 2 cords. Let's talk about the weight for a minute. When I got this and I picked it up, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I picked it up thinking it's going to be real light. It's not. It's got some weight to it. It's heavy.
That's actually surprising.
It's heavy. And what does heavy tell me? Quality.
Quality.
Yeah. None of this is plastic. The only thing you're finding plastic is maybe the switches. Everything else, metal.
Yep.
Steel. Really well made. So, to me, yes, it's $249. However, you get what you pay for. You buy a yoke for $50, it's going to be much different from a yoke for $250. Now, I have seen them compare this to the other yoke. It's like $1,000. And they compare this and set it right beside that other one. Just as good. The only difference is the $1,000 yoke is completely square. It's not rounded on the top. So it's completely square, which makes it easier to build around, I guess.
Right.
But it's manageable. And the yoke is bigger on the $1,000 one. But this is a big yoke. Like, you can rest your hands on it, holding it, and you got room above your hands and below your hands. I mean, it's a big yoke. So, you know, if you're looking to get something that's going to have quality, I would really recommend this. And I'm not doing that for any type of bonus. I don't get anything for telling you guys, hey, get the Honeycomb yoke. It's not a promotion, no promotional video or nothing. But you know, it's common sense. You get what you pay for. Okay.
My question is, what is that slot on the back for?
On where at?
You said there was a slot on the back. I think it was on the right-hand side.
Yeah, that's where your lightning cable plugs in. That little slot.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should have been more specific. So I'm glad you asked that. Yeah. The lightning cable is that little slot I was talking about, and to the right of that is that little button you can turn on your lights and stuff like that. So pretty cool stuff.
That's cool.
Now there's been confusion about this, about a throttle, and you can hook it up to the Honeycomb. That's incorrect. There's no other spot to hook anything up. So if you're going to get a throttle, you'll just have to plug it in USB. And from what I've been told, you can do that. You know, even if you've got another, like say you've got a flight stick set with a flight stick and it's got a separate throttle, you can plug that system in and probably still use that throttle. I'm going to try it because I need a throttle. If not, I'll use the F1, 2, 3, and 4 until I get me a throttle. I would like to have a throttle just all by itself, but you know, we'll do that another time.
Sure.
You know, I've really, and I don't want to go off topic too long, but I've really taken to flying very seriously, and I've dumped a decent amount of cheese into it.
Yes, you have.
But it's worth it. That's the thing.
It's
worth it. We got to get Brandon going on his new computer, and I'm trying to help him with that.
Yes.
Things just been really tight. I've not been able to. You know, he's short
understand.
about $100, so we're trying to figure that out. He's got 150 saved, so we're working on getting it up there so we can get him one. Let's see. I've covered the buttons. Oh yeah, putting it together. When you get it, there's going to be this flat plastic piece. It's, you know, a decent size. It's not as wide as what the dash column is, but almost as wide. And that it's about 1 inch thick. And it's got right in the center. You know how some of the older cooking pans, you got like a round knob on the top right in the middle? A smaller round knob? It looks like that in the middle. And you're going to be thinking what I did. What in the heck is this? Well, you sit your yoke, the whole thing on top of it, and that little knob goes inside this groove on the bottom of the yoke, you know, of the whole unit. It fits down in there, and then you push your yoke forward, and that locks it in. And then the next thing you're going to do is, and I know you guys are going to see this, you're going to find 2 knobs on the back of the yoke, on the box, the dash, whatever. At the back, on the bottom, you're going to find a knob on each side. I'll get to that in a minute. Don't let it drive you crazy because it did me, but I figured it out. All right, so let's talk about the brackets. You're going to sit that on your desk. The yoke, while it's locked on with that plastic. Best way to do it is put that plastic piece on your desk first and then fit that knob into that slot, which is about in the middle of your dash on the bottom, and then push it forward. You have to hold it with your hand, but push it forward, keep it even, and then when it's pushed forward all the way, it's gonna sit on there perfect. Okay. The next thing you're gonna do is put that at the edge of your desk. Then you're gonna take the clamps, and it literally looks like a C-shaped clamp. The knob of the clamp, you're going to open it up all the way so that it fit, on your desk. Open it up all the way, and then on the other, the other piece of that C is going to slide in a groove right underneath of your yoke system. There's a little groove on the plastic piece on the right side and on the left, and that C clamp is going to slide in that groove, and then you're going to adjust your knob and tighten it up. You'll go to the left, you'll do the same thing. You'll slide that C clamp with the open end into that little groove on that plastic piece that the yoke sits on. Like I said, just slide it in that groove. You'll find the groove. You just slide it in there. Tighten your lever, your knob. That part's going to be tight. Now you're going to come to the back of your yoke. Them 2 knobs. You're going to find that them knobs, there's a space between the back of the bottom of the yoke and the top of that plastic piece at the back. You can literally put your fingers between that and the piece that the system's sitting on. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
What you're going to do is spin them knobs, and they're going to line up with these little nubs on each side. So you'll go to the left side and spin it to the right. Go to the right side, spin it to the right. And it's going to line up, like I said, with them little knobs. And basically it's pushing up on the back and pushing the front of it down where it, to keep it a tight fit. And that's it. If you guys don't want sticky stuff all over your desk, there's no need to pull that piece of plastic off the bottom of that square plastic piece that the yoke sits on. There's literally like this piece of paper that pulls off, and it's real sticky stuff. Don't do it, because when you go to try to take that off, good luck. You'll mess your desk up. So I'm not pulling that off. Like, I can literally, this thing's so tight, I can move my whole desk. Like, I can push, pull, it ain't going nowhere. So just adjust it to make sure it's tight. So when you're pulling out on your yoke, or you're pushing your yoke, pulling your yoke, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not going to move. Okay?
Now, when you were setting that up, when you were, putting all that on the desk and pushing everything into place, did it act like it was really loose, or did it have a lot of give, or was it fairly resistant to putting on?
You mean when you put it on that knob?
Yes.
You gotta line it up, but you'll be able to tell where it goes, because there's you'll feel it kind of drop down on top of it as you're moving it around. And soon as it drops down on it, you're going to let it drop down the way it's supposed to, and then you're going to feel some slop, but keep it level and push it forward.
Okay.
The best way to do
The reason I ask
it.
is I've seen other products that advertise, oh, they're really easy to put together. There's no resistance.
No, these are easy. There's really no resistance on these. It fits right in there, and then like I said, you're gonna it's gonna be, before you get your clamps tightened down, obviously that's going to move back and forth.
Right.
It's basically just a groove to keep it from moving back, left and right and all that.
It's basically to keep it centered.
Yep, keep it centered, exactly. And you put them clamps on your desk and the other pieces into them grooves. That is really what's going to really start tightening it down. Mm-hmm. And once you do that, like I said, you'll go to the back of it and twist them knobs to where they're coming all the way down to the top of that plastic foundation that the dash is sitting on. I call it a dash, but yoke, whatever. You know what I mean? It basically puts pressure on the front of it because you're unscrewing them knobs all the way down to where they're pushing against the plastic piece, which is then pushing up on the back of your yoke, and then that's pushing down on the front of your yoke to keep it locked in.
I actually have a suggestion. After you do a flight, if you don't mind maybe coming back and do a post-flight review video.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I want to know, A, is it worth the money when you fly with it? And B, how well does it handle when you're actually in a flight situation?
Our next video that we do, we'll do a flight review. We'll do a flight review of me flying with it, and then we'll do another video after that talking about, because when I'm flying, I want to talk about what I'm doing, not necessarily about, okay, that's working good, this is working good. I want to focus on telling you guys about the buttons, or because that's a personal thing. I guess you can make the buttons whatever you want. But if someone's already programmed, I'll leave them. Do what?
But I think that's a good idea. You do a video with a flying with it, and then maybe do a post-flight review video of how you thought, in your own experience, how you think it was, and if it's worth the money to even buy it.
Yeah, because me, I'm not gonna beat around the bush, and I'm not gonna tell somebody, hey, it's worth it, get it, if it's really not.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
If I fly this thing, and for whatever reason I don't like it, I really doubt that's going to happen because I really love this thing already.
Yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't.
But if that was the case, you better believe that it's getting taken apart from my desk and put back in the box. Simple as that. And they're so sure about their product that they give you 90 days. You can return it and get your money back. That says a lot about a product.
I don't see that happening in your case.
No, I don't neither. I know on the back of it's got a really cool emblem. It's kind of looks like a if you got your fingers at the back, but at the top of it, but on the back, right in the center, you'll feel like this raised emblem. It reminds you of like an arrow, but it's wide and kind of squares with the arrow. Basically, you start at the top on each side, and you'll feel it goes down, and then it slants toward each other at the bottom of it like an arrow, and then there's another emblem on top of that. So they really went out on this thing to make sure, that they were delivering a good product. Yeah, I'm amazed. There it is.
That is absolutely incredible.
So let's talk about, real quick. Well, I lost mine. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Those of you who do have a little bit of sight, if you're like me, I got a little bit of sight, and at nighttime it'd be cool because you'll be able to look down at your dash and see the lights. There's 4 settings: low, medium, high, and maximum. Or actually, we could do dim, low, medium, and high, I think. So, you know, but you gotta be able to see it. 'Cause if you can't, like me, I can see it. If I couldn't see it, you know, don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about the button. I think we'll do that. We'll do a review on flying it, see how she does, and then we'll do an after flight review. So, if you guys have questions, and I know some are gonna be like, well, you didn't do the unboxing. How come? Well, because I'm visually impaired, and anybody that's visually impaired, they're not going to give 2 hoots about that box. I will say the box is, like, even the packaging, dude, it's not just thrown in a box with a bunch of
Yeah, I was going to ask about
stuff
that,
around
the
it.
quality of the packaging, because I get a lot of products, and the packaging is just either
This packaging,
badly packaged, or the packaging is just
okay,
beat
so
up.
give you an idea of the package on this one. Even the C-clamps have got their own individual spots inside this. So especially like this big square foam piece, but it's not styrofoam. It's like a soft, spongy foam almost. I don't know what that's called, but it's definitely not styrofoam. It's soft, but sturdy. Soft, but sturdy. The C-clamps have their very own spots. And then the yolk itself is in a big plastic bag, and then it slides down into an actual spot where it, like, it's made to sit inside that middle slot in the package. And then the last piece that goes in the package is that square plastic piece that the yolk sits on. That goes on the top, and then the papers. Like, the box was just everything. It's as of right now, we're going to do on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best that I've experienced so far. Before flight, quality for what it is right now, as far as how, you know, the structure of it, the layout, the weight, the design. I'm going with the 10.
Okay.
And you know me, that says a lot, because
Yep.
if I find something I don't like about it, it's not going to get a 10. So as far as the quality of it, being, you know, how it's built, we're at a 10 right now. The next video, we're going to do quality in flying. How does it fly? We'll rate that 1 to 10. And then we'll do an overall final review of how, you know, everything works out, basically. So, like, when I'm flying, I might say, well, you know, I was pulling back on it, and it just wasn't doing it, you know, stuff like that. So we got 2 more videos coming for you guys. Right now I've got my keyboard sitting behind the yoke, so I'm kind of where I've got to stretch my arms a little further now.
Yeah.
But it works that way. It's not horrible.
Well, you can't say you don't get your exercise doing that.
It's kind of tricky getting my fingers right where I need them, but on the keyboard. But you know, it'd be okay. I'll get used to it. Or I'll move, I do got an L-shaped desk, so I could always move my keyboard to the right side of me. Which I actually have a keyboard there right now for my other computer, but we'll figure something out. We'll figure it out. I still got to try to pull out. I'm going to pull out that other flight stick I got with the yoke, or the throttle. If I can use that temporarily, I will. I don't know. Some have told me that it should work, but I'm like, won't it override the other one that I got hooked up? But I guess maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. All I can do is try it. It ain't going to hurt nothing.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Worst case, I'll use the F. For what this is, I'll use F1, 2, 3, and 4 for throttle if I got to. And I know they got throttles you can buy individually, so,
Yeah.
we'll see. But anyways, guys, remember, if you got questions, that's what this is about, too. I would love to answer any questions you might have about the Honeycomb yoke. If there's anything I didn't cover, or maybe you want a little more detail, let me know, and I'll pick it up in the next video, either at the beginning or at the end. All right? This is my first real, good review that I've done to try to where everybody can understand it. Brandon, I mean, everything that I said, was it all understandable to you? Was you confused about anything?
No, I wasn't confused about anything. I think it was very clear and concise, and I think people will actually be able to understand everything and how to put it together too. So, yeah,
I wanted to make sure I did that, because I don't want them to get it and then do it wrong and break it or something. It's a...
Yeah, or they'll say, oh, I want my money back. I can't do this. Yeah.
And God forbid, don't do what I've seen people do in the past. Don't just, when you sit... if you're taking it out and you're sitting to the side, don't just sit it down hard, because you're gonna, there's different boards and stuff on the inside, and that's why it was packaged so tight, to prevent from vibration and jarring breaking. And So take care of it, guys, if you get one. As of right now, we're doing a number 10 on quality. Right now, I say buy one, but let's do a flight and let's do a final review. Y'all give us a thumbs up, tap on that subscribe button. Be sure to check out Brandon on his Twitch when he, I don't know when he'll be back on there. Soon, I'm guessing.
Taking a break for a bit, as soon as I possibly can. I just haven't decided where I'm going to go yet.
Gotcha. All right.
So.
All right, guys. So check out Brandon on Twitch. Check out Josh. Check me out, as always. And by all means, share. Definitely. Sharing is caring, baby. So, anyways, that's it for now for the Honeycomb introduction review. And we'll talk to you here real soon.